Hey guys, Matt from Eastwood. Welcome to another live Eastwood tech session in the Eastwood garage. We try to make these as informative and interactive as possible, so please log in, join the chat on both Facebook and YouTube, and you can also watch this right on eastwood.com. As usual, we got Scott over here answering questions.
Yeah, if you have any good questions, make sure you get them up here so I can answer them right on Facebook or on YouTube, or I can also send them over to Matt. We get them answered live on the air for you guys. So let's talk about some paint today, Matt.
Yeah, so today what we're talking about is our Eastwood 2K aero-spray paint line. So basically what this is, the short and sweet of it is, it's a paint gun in a can. So the 2K aero-spray line allows you to get the same quality as you would get out of a paint gun, but in a aerosol can. Basically how the technology works, we have a can here, a sample that we took apart for display purposes. We're going to get Joe get in there so you guys can see. So what this has, there's a little canister in the center here, that's where all the magic happens. And there's a little button that comes in the top of the cap here, so we'll pull that off. This little guy here, it's in the top. What you do is you put that cap there on the bottom, and when you push up on this, it's going to push a pin up through that punctures. It releases the activator inside, and then we shake the can as we would normally. That's going to mix the activator and the paint, or clear coat, or primer all together, and will give you the perfect mix ratio so that you can apply this paint. So, and there's the canister, so you guys can see. So here you can see the top of the canister. So when you puncture in the bottom here, it's going to put a hole up through there, and that just allows it to mix in with the paint, primer, or clear that's already in the can. And when you shake so that's what actually happens in there. So this little canister is what makes it different. This is something that's done at our factory ahead of time. So that's our sample can there. Now, as far as the different options that we have for this, we have all the way from a primer, like our Epoxy Primer, which is one of my favorites. We have a gray. Also on the other end, there's a black that you can use. So if you want to seal up bare metal, if you're doing small jobs, like if you're in the middle of a project where you're working on something and maybe you repaired a patch panel and you're not going to be able to touch the vehicle for a little while, instead of having to pull the paint gun out, mix up Epoxy Primer and spray it to seal it up, what you can do is you can activate the bottom of the can here, spray it, seal up the area that you need, and you're good to go. And you can just throw the can, recycle or throw the can in the trash when you're done. We also have a high build urethane primer. So if you want to block sand and get a laser straight finish, you can use this to apply down for a high build primer, and you can block sand it out. We also have our really popular Chassis Black line. So we offer our Chassis Black in the gloss and the satin finish in this as well. So this is going to be we often get the question about which Chassis Black is the best one to use, which one is the strongest or most durable. The answer is the aero-spray, the 2K aero-spray. Now there is obviously a cost involved, it makes it a little more expensive, but you're going to get your most durable finish out of this by using this if you're doing chassis painting. Now the other thing that's really nice is we have the high gloss finish here, and we also have a flat or a matte finish in our clear. And I think we have a shot that we can throw up of showing using the paint where we show the clear. And also here you can see the coverage. The coverage is way better versus just using a normal aerosol can. It's incredible how much coverage you get. And here is actually the bumper of the Mustang that's right behind me. We used the 2K aero-spray gloss, the high gloss, over top of our paint to get a really nice gloss finish on the bumper. And I mean, it looks the same as the car, and you can't really tell the difference between what was sprayed with the actual gun and what was sprayed with the 2K aero-spray. It's got that great of a gloss level to it. And again, it's just as durable because it is the same exact type of materials that you're using that you would spray out of your gun. And then finally, we have our underhood and engine paints. We also offer them. So again, the question always comes up, which one's the best underhood or high temp paint for painting an engine or engine components? This one right here is going to be the best here. So again, you don't have to mix the activator. It's put right in there. You can spray it on. Most of these cans cover about 35 square feet when you're covering out of a can. If you're doing something like a small chassis or something like that, you can probably get 2 to 3 cans. You can do a frame and get 1 to 2 coats on it on a small chassis. Obviously, depending on how much you're doing, it may vary. And then again, we have the epoxy primer and the high build urethane here on the end. Any questions we have so far, Scott? Before
Sure.
I show the nozzle off.
Yeah, Jonathan asked what the pot life is on these, and also for those who don't know, do you mind explaining what the pot life is?
Sure. So the pot life generally on these, you get 24 to 48 hours is common. It depends also on the temperature. So if you guys are using this, and a little tip you can do is if you keep this in a cool area after it's activated, you can get a little bit more life out of that. I generally, 24 to 48 hours is about it. You may be able to push it a little farther, again, depending on the humidity and the temperature in the area where you store it. But that's usually what I try to do. So you do have to plan out your project, because this is just like in your paint gun. If you mix it up and you let it activate and it hardens, you get one shot. So you can't put this back in a month or 2 later, pull it back out and expect to use it. Pot life is basically the amount of time that you have that the product is usable after it's been activated. So you can leave this can on the shelf without too much issue. I think, was it a year or 2 years we give on this when it's unpunctured. But basically, you can leave this on the shelf, and as long as you haven't punctured the bottom here, you're okay to use it. But as soon as you do that, you need to use it within a fairly short period of time. So one of my last favorite things on this that's a lot different than other aerosols is on the top of the can here. One of the secrets to getting the great coverage on the incredible coverage out of an aerosol here has this little adjustable fan pattern on the top here. So there's this little red knob here, and this is one of these things. I don't know if I can turn it to get the glare out of there. Let's see if we can get in there so you guys can actually see it. So we have this little knob here can actually be turned independent of the nozzle. You gotta put a finger there to hold it. But you can turn this, and what this does is this actually changes your fan pattern. So you can turn this, and it's going to change your fan pattern. So if you're spraying something that you need more of a narrow pattern on it, and you don't want to waste material, you definitely want to turn the fan pattern down so you're getting a more narrow fan, and you're not wasting material with a ton of overspray on something that you don't need to do, or you're getting dry spray on something because of the overspray. And by doing that, you can really adjust it to get it exactly how you want. You can put a nice wide fan on it if you turn it all the way up, and it's pretty close to using like a detail gun or something like that. You can get a similar pattern out of it, a little larger than that. So you can actually spray panels with it. If you need to do like a door panel or something that you're doing a repair on, you can use this to do that again, and it gets a nice pattern on it that you can get a good overlap. Any questions?
Sure. Another
Sounds
one
like you're
that's
typing
good
away.
to touch on is fuel resistance, because somebody asked how fuel resistant they are.
You're going to get, again, it's the same as far as fuel resistance goes, it's the same as what you would spray out of a paint gun. So it is an activated 2K paint or coating. So it will have some fuel resistance, but it's the same as any type of, like the paint on a stock factory gas tank. If it sits there and you let gas sit on it for a long period of time, or if it's constantly getting exposed to it, it can break it down. But this is no different than anything you would see out of your paint gun. So if you get a little bit of paint on, if it is a gas tank for a motorcycle or something like that, which is probably the most common question about fuel related that we get, you're okay if you splash a little bit on it and you wipe it off. It's not a big deal. It's going to be, it is actually activated. It's not going to wipe off like a normal aerosol paint would, one-part aerosol paint. So same durability, basically. That's a good one.
Yeah, sure. And then one other question is regarding the primers. They want to know if you can paint right over body filler.
Okay, so specifically the primers they're asking about.
Right.
Yeah, so the same as if you're doing your bodywork techniques, there's kind of 2 schools of thought on that. Some people like to put their body filler right on bare metal and then do the primer over top of it. Some people like to put epoxy primer down and then do their body filler over top. There's all different opinions on that. But yes, you can do your body filler Or like I said, if you're doing your metal work, or you're doing a swipe of body fill, if you're doing it that way, you like to do it right on the bare metal, you can do that. Do your sanding, get it knocked down, get it nice and flat and feathered in, and then you can use our epoxy primer to spray right over top of that. It's going to seal up the bare metal. It's also going to seal up your body filler repair, so no moisture is going to get in there and cause an issue. So epoxy primer one is probably the one I use the most common, because I keep these cans, and whenever I'm doing repair and I want to seal it up, that's exactly what I do. So yeah, it's a good one.
I think that's about it then.
Cool. Well, I appreciate you guys having all the questions on these cans. Again, you can find all the different colors. This is just a small selection of what we have. Again, we have like a matte clear, and we have a number of different engine paints that you can get in the 2K aerosol. So if you do a search for, just do 2K aero-spray or aero-spray on eastwood.com, you can see our whole list of all our different paints in this particular can configuration. And they vary in price, but again, the quality that you get out of this is going to be worth every penny that you spend on it. So thanks, guys, for all the questions. I really appreciate it. As always, join us Monday through Wednesday, 3 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, where we're doing a tech live session here in the Eastwood garage. I'll catch you guys later. See you.